It's on the committee.
You were on the. They don't vote as you?
Yeah, because he had the 27-page manifesto, but he didn't show up. Okay, Pauline, let's roll.
She's here, she's here.
Wait.
I never chit chat at 6 o'clock.
Thank you for letting me join you.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the school committee meeting for the evening of October 4th. You have before you an agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Questions
From the public? Seeing none, we will move on because it's cold and we all want to be home. I'm going to lead off with Superintendent Hallett's report. She's off at a meeting of superintendents and doing professional development. She says it's a wonderful meeting, but we're here. The school committee met in a workshop with the superintendent, and we had discussions with Paul Hilton, the executive director of the Cape Cod Collaborative, around the issue of busing. He shared the challenges that the collaborative is facing across the Cape and the bus driver shortage. He also offered some glimmers of hope with 2 potential drivers that are in training. He also shared that he's investigated acquiring vans and multiple utility buses, but there aren't any currently available to him. He did mention there was one for $70,000 uninspected down in someplace in the south, probably got blown away. Drivers for these shorter vehicles only need a 7D license, which entails a written test, physical exam, and 8 hours of driving practicum. The committee also brought up numerous ideas, such as hiring outside companies to transport students or using the NRTA. But there are very strict federal and state regulations about home-to-school transportation, along with requirements around personal insurance. One area that was discussed is parent interest in structured carpooling. The group hopes to involve the Friends of Nantucket Public Schools in this discussion. Pauline, do you want to say anything about that?
No,
Okay.
do you want me to? No, it's
Well,
just agreeing. I'm
if you had
shaking my
something to
head.
say.
I'm just
Okay.
supporting you.
Staffing issues. We're still working on filling open positions in our schools, particularly an interim EL director, math and science teachers at the high school, a Spanish teacher at CPS, and several TAs at each school. We also need educational support personnel in curriculum at the central office and our EL office. She assured us that we're not giving up. Positions are posted on School Spring, Indeed, on the Town of Nantucket website, and local news media. If anyone is interested, knows individuals who might be looking to join a fantastic work team, that's in quotes, we'd love to talk to them. Please send inquiries to Ellen Tavares in HR at the central office. Enrollment. This month, we're up by 1 student from 1723 to 1724. Obviously, there've been some withdrawals at the high school and a few new enrollments at the elementary school. Last month's enrollment figures need to be corrected. Grade 6 and grade 8 numbers for September were incorrect. The correct enrollment numbers are 102 for grade 6 and 149 for grade 8. Are there any questions from the committee?
No, sir.
Okay. Presentations and discussions of issues of interest to the committee. Community school update. Alicia Granzadai, Director of the Nantucket Community School. Should we go down front, Alicia?
What was that?
Should we go down front too?
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you. I didn't know you could do that. But I like it. I'd like to talk to your faces. All right, Jen, is this gonna work? Mark or Chris this? Or are they gonna see all of our notes?
Should.
That's right, right?
Yeah, it's showing a little.
Thank you for your patience. I'm really glad Jen's here because I cannot do this on my own.
All right. Get your mouse back over here.
Think we're good to go?
I think so.
Great. Thank you for having us tonight. My name's Alicia Graziade, and I am the new director of Nantucket Community School. We've got our whole team with us tonight, which I'm so thankful for, and I'm hoping that you'll gather some new insights by watching this presentation about all that we do here at the Nantucket Community School. So at NCS, our mission is to engage, strengthen, and connect our community. We support lifelong learning and provide quality and affordable programming from birth through adulthood. We good? Oh, it just shouldn't be on this one. It's just in the middle here.
There we go.
We're fine.
Okay.
We're fine. In partnership and support of NES, NIS, CPS, and NHS, we are the fifth school, encompassing all levels of learning in our community. Tonight, we're here to introduce you to new members of our staff, highlight our current programming, as well as taking an opportunity to put forth some new endeavors. As a team, we have noted that one clear challenge this fall is staffing, which Tim mentioned earlier, and is a problem throughout our district right now. What we found the most difficult to fill at the moment are part-time teaching positions. Fortunately, I'm part of a dedicated team, and all of these coordinators worked with me to find creative solutions to these new challenges, whether stepping up to help a colleague or working through a creative solution for scheduling by looking through something with a new lens. Their flexibility, resourcefulness, and commitment to our program allow us to continue to support our evolving community. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Denise, our driver's ed coordinator.
Thank you, Alicia.
Of course. And then there you are.
Good evening. In our state, there are certain requirements that must be met for young adults to acquire a driver's license. For those under 18 years of age, this license is called a Junior Operator's License, or JOL for short. And our program helps with each step of the way for these students and their parents. The requirements are passing a written test at the RMV to obtain a learner's permit. Number 2, successful completion of the driver's education program at a state-approved driving school, which we are. 40 hours of documented driving with the parent. And the 4th is passing a road test examination conducted by the RMV. Components of our driver's education program, which was number 2 in the previous page. There are many different moving parts in this, and students must complete each one. There's a mandatory 2-hour parent guardian course. This class is now required by the state before any students can get in the driver's ed car. Successful completion of 15 2-hour classroom modules. Test score of at least 80% on the classroom material from the bullet above. 12 hours of behind-the-wheel driving instruction, and 6 hours of observing a peer in the driver's seat as they get their lesson. Some of our recent program highlights. We purchased a new car. When I came on board in June, our oldest car had been in a shop for more than a month, and we got it back, and then within another 2 weeks, it had broken down again and had to be in the shop, causing us to reschedule lessons and So we are trading that in for a newer model. So that's a huge plus going forward. The community school is now an instructor training center, meaning new instructors, which need 65 hours of training to be licensed, can get that done here on island rather than going off island and all the expenses that go along with that to get their certification. Road tests are now back on Nantucket. This summer, we resumed lessons for adult drivers. Currently, we're in a pause state on that because of our staffing issue, but hope to get back to that soon. Because of this last bullet, we brought Dennis Karen back from retirement to help us meet the demands until we can hire and train additional instructors. Okay. Just a couple more points here. So over the summer, we had 23 students that met every single one of those requirements, went to all 15 of those classes, did all 12 lessons. We provided them with a driver's ed certificate, which enabled them to take the road test. The road tests for our students are scheduled by me, and we provide the car, we provide the instructor to go as sponsor, so parents no longer have to take time off work to do that. All of these students, I'm happy to say, passed the road test and now have their junior operator's license. In the summer, we also had 11 adults take lessons with us. 5 of those have taken their road test, and 4 of those adults passed the first time. Okay. And next, I'd like to introduce Pauline Cronin.
Going this way. Hi, I'm Pauline Cronin. I'm the Early Childhood Program Coordinator for the community school. Pictures tell 1,000 words. We are the Early Childhood Centre, which is the first picture there, so we're in that old art room from many moons ago. Miss O was in that space for a while, but we're so much more than the Early Childhood Centre. We're always out in the community as well. The second picture shows you we're at the Whaling Museum now. We collaborate with the NHA to do programming. The next one, we're at the Artists Association doing programming there. And the last one is our location at town. So we do all our registered playgroups out of 56 Centre Street. So the Early Childhood Centre is drop-in play, where parents can come spend time with their children, connect. Hugely important, especially in those winter days when it can be really isolating on Nantucket. And then the 56 Centre space is used mainly for those registered playgroups. I will show you a list of the playgroups. I keep going the wrong way, sorry. We have a lot of playgroups going on, and we have a lot of demand. Since COVID has started to go by the wayside, families are coming out of the woodwork. They're desperate to get into playgroups. We thought we had enough for everybody. We added another one. We still have a wait list. We don't want families on a wait list, so we're doing our best to get them in. So in addition to the drop-in play, we have all those playgroups. There's some other collaborations there with the STAR group. But I also want to point out that we're currently running the childbirth ed program. It was run through the hospital for a long time, and then it sort of went away. I feel it's really important to connect with families right from the beginning. I'm part of a team. Susan Richards is here. We also have Carrie Willis and Michelle Saravia as our Spanish-speaking translator and a key member of our team. So we can reach out directly to Spanish-speaking families. We wish we had Portuguese. We wish we had all the different translation services. But we try to meet families where they're at. You can see a list of all the other partnerships. We don't do much alone. We know that collaborating is key. So it's really essential that we take the experts and then we bring our expertise and offer quality programming. It's so important for us. We're getting children ready for school. We look for parent involvement and leadership. And we're also resource and referral, meaning that if a family comes to us and they're struggling with something, it might be food insecurity, we're going to invite them in, speak with them, learn a bit more about them, and make sure they get to all the resources that they need, confidentially, of course. We do a lot of grant writing. That's why we're able to do all these things. We have state funding, but also we work hard at the community school to write grants, local grants and other state grants to make all these programs happen. We also lean heavily on the community school because the budget that the early childhood program has, the funding doesn't cover all of what we do, but everybody sees the value in supporting families right from the very beginning. I also wanted to highlight the Summer Boost program. This is a collaborative effort. The MPS helps us fund. Just a snapshot of this past year, we had 34 students. Quite a high number of students. This program is for children who are not engaged in a formal preschool setting. So they would be arriving at kindergarten in September with no preschool skills. A big focus of this program, Susan would say, please put that at the top, is the SEL, so the social emotional learning skills that are ready for kindergarten. That's where our main focus is. A lot of these children have not worked in groups, have not socialized with friends. And we focus on the basic academic skills, but see that the SEL skills rise to the top. That's where our focus is. It's a 5-week program, and it's really fast. And we work really hard with these amazing students to get them ready for school. Just before I finish, the Summer Boost program is an extension of the Ready, Set, School program that we work hard all year long to recruit parents and children. So all of our year-long school year programs are parent-child. I should have mentioned that. We don't do any drop-off care for children. The reason being that we want to educate the entire family, so the parent needs to be there. This is the first drop-off program. Getting on the school bus, saying goodbye to mom and dad, it's all a big part of coming to school. That's a snapshot of the early childhood programs. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kelly Corbett, and I am the coordinator of the DanceWorks program as well as an instructor. I have 2 other instructors as part of my team. Megan just married Torme, and just hired Jasmine Kasperzak. In DanceWorks, we target ages 3.5 to 18 years old, and we strive to just create a positive environment that's filled with opportunity and consistency and support through the learning and teaching of dance and really any kind of movement. Last year, we offered 18 different classes with a combined total of 170 students. We had a lot of firsts as well. It was our first year teaching out of the Nantucket Elementary School Gymnasium. Thank you, Ms. Kubish. And we got a grant that allowed us to buy portable mirrors to make the space the proper setting for a dance atmosphere. Our Irish Step program introduced heavy shoes to their instruction, and they also started offering a class just for lads, which has doubled in enrollment this year. This coming year. Our high school students requested that I bring a choreography class to the table, so last year we piloted that as well. It was a student-led class, which just allowed them to gain valuable experience in composing and learning the different elements of creating a dance through the support of myself. Students either participated as a dancer or a choreographer, and they took turns in those roles, and we were able to perform at the Whaling Museum at the Holiday Magic event and also in our end of the year dance recital, and there was 5 different choreography pieces. Now let's see if I can do this right. Nope. There we go. Okay. With the hiring of Jasmine, brought back our gymnastics program, which was extremely successful. She also piloted an acro conditioning class, which is really just for strength and flexibility building, and brought back a class that was done many years ago, Mini Movers, which is a caregiver children's interactive class. The children are 12 months to 3.5 years old, and that's really just to get them to focus on their physical and mental development through the exploration of movement. And then lastly, probably the thing that I'm most proud of is our apprenticeship program. For over 10 years, we've offered this program to the high school age students who've been dancing with me for 5 or more years. And they volunteer as helpers in our class, and they really play a key role to the success of our program. We wouldn't be able to meet the demands of the students with student-teacher ratio without them. And then my hope is that they're building the value of what it's like to be a role model, the importance of time commitment, time management, leadership skills, and nurturing their own self-esteem in the meantime, all while deepening their knowledge of teaching and learning of dance. So yeah, this year, registration just closed on Friday, and we are full and anxious to get back into the studio. Thank you.
I think I'm next. Let me see. Yes. Hello, my name is Jessica Toole. I am the new Children's Enrichment Coordinator, and part of the programming that I work with is for Extended Day and also the summer camp. And our Extended Day program is for children in grades kindergarten through grade 2, and this program offers working parents a safe and enriching environment for extended childcare following the school day. Daily schedule includes outside physical activity, inside playtime, craft making, and snacks. St. Paul's volunteers donate snacks and read with students individually every Tuesday. And along with that, Nisha, we have a humane educator, Susan, who is scheduled to start visiting with us, as she has in the past, with her favorite furry dog friend, Gwen. And additional collaborations that are in the works are with island organizations such as the NHA, Life Saving Museum, and Mariah Mitchell. And those are just some bullets as to our staffing. And we are always looking for high school helpers, because as Kelly mentioned with her program, they are key in our student-teacher ratio, and they've been essential to work with us and help us out in the after-school program. And along with that, we have our Act Venture Camp, which is divided into 3 components. And Act Venture seeks to provide a nurturing, activities-based, rewarding, and enjoyable summer experience. Daily schedule includes on-campus activities and off-campus field trips in partnership with island nonprofit organizations. And some of those organizations you can see on the side there. In the past, they've been able to go, they've been using the pool, they've gone to use the ice rink, and we've had toward the end of the summer, we were able to go on more field trips off campus, and that was a great experience for them, and we hope to do the same this summer. And that's it. Thank you.
So I'm Lindsay Pikus. I wear a couple of different hats at the community school. I work with Brian Linane. He's the adult education coordinator, and I am the adult education program assistant, but also the marketing coordinator for the organization. So I work with all of the various coordinators to market their programs.
So if you look at the programs, we've evolved over time. We have moved from enrichment to really more about professional and career development. And that's based upon the demands of the adult community. And we've listed a lot of those programs up there, and we'll just talk about a few of them. The picture there is Melvin Hernandez, who's a member of the staff here. He's in the security, he's on the security team, and he, working 2 or 3 jobs with a family, completed his GED in a couple of years on his own time. And the GED is not for the faint of heart. It's basically completing a high school curriculum on your own, and then passing all those tests. And he also got engaged with the community school through his children, because they were in the early childhood program. So it's part of the whole connection that we have from adults all the way through infants at the community school. These are some of the highlights that I want to talk about that are more related to the school, since I wanted to link that in. We run a test center here on the island, and we test all kinds of people, but mostly we test teachers, okay? The MTEL exam for teachers is a requirement of their employment, and we provide that testing here on the island so that people don't have to lose time from work and travel. The second program we wanted to highlight is interpreters. We offer interpreters, and we swap, we go back and forth between medical interpreters and community interpreters. And then we publish a list of all of the people who are certified to be interpreters as a resource to the community. And we're just scratching the surface. we could do more there, but that's funded through grants. The other is a new program. It's not new. It's an old program that's come back now. Is we're certifying nurse assistants on the program. Last year we certified 11 of them, and they were hired before they graduated. This year we have another 5 in the pipeline, and it's done online in partnership with the Upper Cape Cod Tech and at our island home for the clinical. So again, people do not have to leave the island because everybody is working. Some are working 2 jobs, but they can get their CNA certification here. The other is the online university, and some of the teachers take advantage of this. SNHU is a totally online university where you can get a master's degree online. You can do all kinds of different bachelor degrees. You get a 10% discount for every course if you're registered through us. And so it's just a great service to bring a university here to the island.
And then the CPR program is the last bullet. That's sort of become my baby since I started working here about 6 years ago. So that 200 people, that's a combination of public classes, which we offer on a monthly basis. And then we also offer private classes for various island organizations, different private schools. And all of that is held downtown at our facility at 56 Center Street. And then I'm currently working with Deb Gately to certify some students within the district, and we have about 50 who have signed up so far. So that's a pretty big accomplishment and a nice partnership. So we're really happy about that.
So the ESL program, or we call it ESOL, we have about 70 people enrolled. We have 4 levels of classrooms, and they're right here, right down the hall. The journeyman course is running downstairs in the basement. If any of you can teach the level 3, 4, and master's level journeyman course, please see me after this meeting. We're still looking for that instructor. And then as I mentioned, we've got people enrolled in the CNA program. And now we'll turn it over to James, who is remote, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make sure.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is James. I'm the aquatics director over at the community pool. I just started a couple months ago, and I'm moving my family up from Connecticut, so I'll be kind of joining you guys full-time November 1st. I've been coaching over at CPAC in Fairfield County for about 10 years, looking to bring a little bit of that experience up onto the island. Unfortunately, we've been under a pool closure. We're on day 12, but I'm proud to announce that after replacing the circulation pump, our pool furnace, we are scheduled to be reopening Thursday morning at 6 a.m. with everything up and running. We will have our regular programming resuming, and the pool is cleaner than it's ever been. Our janitorial and lifeguard service has been hard at work getting everything tightened up and cleaned and strained away. So we really look forward to welcoming the entire community back to a really fresh new pool, something hopefully they haven't seen in a while. So that's a really exciting time. We've got a couple programs that have been running consistently until the pool shut down. Our swim team has 56 kids on it, ranging high school all the way down to, we have a couple 8-year-olds that are in our team already. We have all kind of levels. We have kids that have qualified for age groups and some kids that are just kind of getting their feet wet with the competitive team. It's been a really exciting team. We've got 2 full-time coaches, myself and another assistant, and then 2 part-time coaches. The legendary Doreen Allen is helping out again. And then Jeff, the lifeguard, is always on service to help out with the kids and lend a helping hand. So that's a really exciting time with that team kind of getting the season underway there. We have an aquasize program with 5 very dedicated ladies, and our senior ladies are coming in now that the summer has kind of died down a little bit and there's been a little bit more access. So we're really excited about that aquasize program. And then Jim Meehan is running our adult learn to swim program, and that's been really good. We've got over 18 enrollees there. We're Pebble Beach that we'll be going to off island. We're really excited about our swim team this year, bringing on a lot more practice time. We've got our coaches on for a couple more hours where we added some Saturday workouts, which will enable our kids to get a lot more time in the water and continue to grow the program, especially for those kids that might not be able to make an after school time, whether they're doing another sport for. We're just trying to provide that flexibility to everybody. So moving right along, we have Carol Lundquist. She's been doing a great job with our exercise. She kind of has a little music going with every class. She runs a really good tight group. Our Nantucket swimming training groups kind of breaks down into 6 total groups for those 56 athletes. So we do have a little room to grow within there. 2 groups that I focus on kind of our elementary school ages, that 8 to 10-year-olds, some younger when they get in there. Then we have 2 groups that break down our middle school or intermediate school ages, kind of that 6th to 8th grade age round, and then our senior group with all of our high school kids that'll obviously work around the high school schedule as well. As I touched on before, Jim Meehan is running a fantastic adult learn to swim class. That class is filled out to capacity at over 18 swimmers in the pool. This is a really great program. Not knowing how to swim when you live on an island is always kind of a sore subject that you don't want to touch that. But getting these adults in there, learning a skill that is very, very hard to learn at an advanced age is really exciting to see. So Jim Meehan is running a great class, and then we have our tried and true lap swimmers who are always in the water. They're most busy at 6 a.m. So if you guys can, if you guys want to come by the pool and see a really, really happening group, come by at 6 a.m. But the pool's really seeing a lot of activity the first couple weeks here. Unfortunately, we had to shut down, but like I said, we are excited to be reopening on Thursday, getting all the programs back up and running. So that's all for me. I know there's going to be a couple things that we'll touch on upcoming, but that's the Phonics report.
Thanks, James.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Wolfleff. I'm the Assistant Director at NCS. My colleagues have done a great job explaining everything that we're doing right now at NCS, but here are a few things that are coming up and that we're working on. So these are not set in stone, but the tennis courts are, you've probably noticed they are being built behind the Muse, kind of, off of Bacchus Lane. So those should be open in the spring, and we'll be running some programs through that. We're working with Beth Hallett to figure out what those programs are going to look like, how it's going to be open to the public, and we'll be taking charge of those when that happens. So I don't know if you know Meg Corcoran, but is it Tormé now? Yeah. Megan Corcoran. She's going out on maternity leave in January, so our Irish step classes are going to be paused for a short time in the winter and spring. So we are hoping, we're working on getting some tap and ballroom dance classes in to supplement that loss there. These will probably be geared more toward adults, actually, so that's exciting. If you don't want to get up at 6 a.m. to swim, come in later in the day and take a tap class. It'll be great. The Youth to Learn to Swim classes, we're changing the format of those. In the past, they've been Monday through Friday. You take a week class or maybe 2 weeks. We're changing it to be a consistent, you take a class on a Monday for 6 weeks so that they have, hopefully it'll work out a little bit better for year-round families who can't necessarily make it every single day with other sports and things that are going on. So that should hopefully be an improvement to that program. And then possibly Aqua Tots. I know James is hoping to bring this to the pool. So it's a caregiver and me class in the pool. I did that with my son when they were 6, 8 months old. You kind of go swimming with your baby. It's really fun. It gets them used to the water at an early age. So those are a few things coming up. Does anyone have any questions for anyone on our team? Yeah. We don't want to leave James there all night.
Pauline, do you want to lead off?
Sure, yes. Well, it's no surprise to anybody that I'm probably the #1 fan of the community school. So this is a fabulous presidency network for children, and it's terrific to see you back. I love the MTEL. I think that's great. Having had my husband, it was a day off and a whole day and night off in order to take that test. So that's terrific. Pauline, the birthing classes. So do you think there's an opportunity to go back to partnering with the Cottage Hospital? Are you having conversations with them about? Yeah.
Yeah, not just the hospital, I'd like to see some other involvement, so conversations are happening for sure. It's not sustainable for us to keep doing them. We were able to get some good funding, but looking at sustainability, yes, absolutely.
Great. And are you still able to do the postpartum visits, the home visits?
We do the welcome baby visits.
Good.
With COVID, we stopped going into the, is that the one you're referring to? Yeah, so we stopped going into the homes with COVID. We haven't actually got back to home visiting, but I have a little back burner home visiting program. I might have written a very large grant last week, but, so yes, we are, absolutely. But we're inviting them into our spaces and doing the welcome baby visit in our spaces.
That's terrific. And kudos to the driver's ed to get a ringer in. No better than someone that knows right from the administrative way how that works. I think what didn't necessarily come across here, which I think is important for everybody to know, is that this team writes an incredible number of grants, and that your income, I mean, that's a huge percentage of how you make your money. And the community school is reliant on people paying for the programs. It's a very small part of their budget is actually supported through town. So I love the change that you've put into more of workforce development. And I just think it's terrific. And we're very lucky, the district is very lucky to have you. So thank you.
I have no questions.
No questions, just everything looks great. The programs look fantastic. And I, as a parent, I know my kids take advantage of all the programs that they can sign up for when they do become available. Yes. So thank you.
I don't have any questions either, but just to reinforce, having the MTEL on island is fantastic. The stress of having to go off island and all that goes into it. So I would be interested to see how the success rates have improved. Because it's a slog. And by the same token, being able to get your master's on island is fantastic. I'm thrilled that Kelly has a home that she can call her own. So I just applaud all the efforts. I'm thrilled to see the team, and I'm just excited to see what you all are doing and to support you and getting the word out. So congratulations and thank you.
I'm interested in the postpartum or the childbirthing classes. Do you guys get involved? Postpartum depression is sort of an unrecognized need on this island, and since the hospital dropped the ball a number of years ago. I'm wondering if you're going to get involved in that.
I attend, there's a Cape and Islands postpartum depression task force, so I attend those. I did have a group going here, it was just, I was at my max, I couldn't keep it going, so it lost a bit of momentum, but since the VNA has come back, now they're doing home visits again, which is huge. That was a big miss for a very long time. And some pretty dynamic people there, and then, I'm gonna give away all my secrets, but talking with the town as well, and it's absolutely in the forefront of our minds. When we do our welcome baby visit, we also did the Edinburgh postnatal depression screening tool. We're not diagnosing anything, but we're always on the lookout for things. So yeah, I'm part of many conversations around that, but I'm aware that the services are slim to none on Ireland.
Does the VNA see just babies that are born here, or does it get involved with babies that are born off
No,
island?
they'd get a notice. They're actually kind of shifting to that it was a choice of a parent to have a home visit. They're rewording it that it's almost like you will have a home visit. Of course, they're not going to go if someone really doesn't want to, but they're just rewording it so that it's harder to say no because they see the value. And then they would get word from Boston as well, the Cape, wherever, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can I say one? I'm sorry, Colleen.
We're just going to have to, following up from Dr. Lepre, do you have a list of qualified counselors that are certified or experienced in postpartum depression?
If you know of one, please let me know. There's nobody who's specifically certified in it on Ireland. They might say they're certified in trauma but in saying that, Fairwinds has also trained all of their clinicians. So with funding that they got to be able to do professional development. They did postpartum training. I'm always saying, can lay people get certified as well? We've all done training over the years. And then a conversation I had today through the postpartum depression task force on the Cape. They also have funding that they want to have people trained here. It's something that has to be kept up. It's a really special discipline, and even on the Cape, they're struggling to have clinicians.
I wonder if the Cape through this network would be able to do telehealth with patients here
Well,
if
and
they've
then there's
clinicians.
multiple support groups too. In person is key, especially for people who are isolated, who might not even be aware that they have postpartum depression.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work going on, just like any mental health field. It's short
Okay.
staffed.
Thanks, Pauline.
I should have mentioned that my son worked for the community school this summer. My son is 6'3", 230. I never knew my kid had anything like the kids to begin with. But he thoroughly, it was the only job he's had since he's been working that he was never late. He loved the people he worked with. He loved the kids, and I thank you for making my summer easier for me. And can we apply for his job next year right now?
Well, thank you very, very
Yeah,
much.
Thank you. Alicia. Thank you.
Bye, James.
Yes, thank you, James.
Mandy, do you want to discuss the AP results?
Jen, how do I turn this on?
Do you want us down in front?
It's up to you. You have the presentation.
We have the presentation, yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you how wonderful our students are. so
Mhm.
take that one.
We got a split screen going on. Just ignore this screen.
Can I see that though? Just can I see it here? Sorry.
No, we were punching before, so.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here, Ms. Sarah Dallas and I, for being able to present. We always like to brag about our students. It's probably the most thing that we like to do other than brag about our teachers. And so speaking of our teachers, I'd like to say thank you and give a shout out to our AP teachers, including Mrs. McDonald, Dr. Williams, Mr. Gregorich, Ms. Edswald, Mrs. Fanoff, Ms. Ersman, Ms. Christie, Ms. Wiggin, Mr. McGinnis, Mr. Laredo, and Ms. Supernaut, who doesn't actually teach one of the AP classes, but she oversees the AP classes through VHS. And we have a few students who use that option. And they actually take courses that we don't have available at school. I think that it's really important to mention the extra work that our AP teachers do. They, for instance, we just got a notice from Mr. Gregorich. He has students coming in the morning to do a lab for AP chemistry. Ms. McDonald has already done the same with the AP Bio this year, and they do that regularly all the way up to taking the exam. So they work really hard to get our kids ready for the exams, and I just want to make sure that that is out there because I don't want it to go unnoticed. This year, or this past year, we had 107 students who took AP exams. That's also reflective of the number of students who took AP courses. They are required to take the exam if they take the AP course. That of the 107 students, it was 170 exams that they took. We had a few students who took as many as 3 or 4 AP classes this past year. we really don't recommend that they take as many as 4, but we did have 2 or 3 students who felt like, were passionate to do that. Most students will take 2 AP classes during a school year, so that's why the number is 170 exams from 107 students. The average score of the 170 exams is 2.4, and the percent that score 3 or higher was 44%. Breaking it down by grade, we had 13 students in 10th grade, 43 in 11th grade, and 51 in 12th grade. And I find it interesting that of our 51 12th graders, it represents 88 exams that were taken. And you can see the percent of that scored 3 or higher. 42% of our seniors, 39% of our juniors, and 77% of our sophomores. The AP Scholar criteria, I went over this last year. I think it's really important. I didn't understand this myself. I had to reread this several times to grasp exactly. But the AP Scholar is a student who has received scores of 3 or higher on 3 or more of their AP exams. The AP Scholar with honor has scored at least a 3.25 on all AP exams or 3 or higher on 4 or more of the exams that they've taken. And the AP Scholar with distinction is granted to students who receive a 3.5 on all exams taken or a 3 or higher on 5 or more exams. And we have students that take that many. This past year, we had 16 scholars, 9 that were AP scholars with an average score of 2.92. AP Scholar with honor, we had 5 of those students with a 4.2 average, and an AP Scholar with distinction, 2 students, and with a 3.92. So I added this breakdown. I just think it's interesting to take a look at our mean score for our students in comparison to the state and global scores. I think that our students are about 50-50 when they're compared to the state, where they're pretty close to the state mean and maybe even a little bit higher than the global. 50% are about the same, 50% are a little lower. We certainly have some work that we need to do. Percent of the total AP students with scores of 3 or above. 2022, it was actually 44%, but this is from the AP College Board, so I don't argue with them. They say 50%, so I guess they're rounding up. But this is over a 5-year period. What I find interesting about this chart is that for 2021, 2022, it's on the heels of COVID. So it certainly impacted our students, and it impacted the amount of instruction that they were able to receive in order to be prepared for those exams. So this is not in your presentation, this next slide. I added this because when I'm looking at it, and I was not an AP student, I'll just put that right out there. I admire our students who take the AP courses because I just was never that smart in school. But I think it's interesting because you look at, I remember early on of my teaching, it was always you needed to score a 4 or a 5. And now they look at, did you score at least a 3 or higher? And so I found this information on the AP College Board. I actually found it today when I was going through everything. And I think it was interesting that this, if the student scores a 3 or higher, they have data that says that this is a good predictor of their success in college. So I just wanted to add that. I thought it was interesting. They say, this is one study, says that students who score a 3 or higher have a better chance of earning their bachelor's degree when they go to college. So, and I truly believe that it's because of the amount of rigor that's in the AP courses. Teachers have to submit their syllabus, and they follow guidelines from the AP College Board, and they really have to pack everything in a shortened school year because they start taking exams in May. So there's still like a month to 6 weeks left of school that they don't do instruction, so they have to be prepared by the first week of May in order to be ready for those exams. When we take a look at the breakdown, students by demographics, and this is, yes, for you, Ms. Proch. Our Asian students are, we had 2 students, one 12th, one 11th, Black or African American students. We had 6 students. And I questioned this one myself because when I went through the list and I looked at it, but then I looked down at the 2 or more races that are non-Hispanic, and we had 10 of those students. So that made a little bit more sense to me whenever I look at the list of students, and I'm thinking, now wait a minute, I know that's not quite. So that makes more sense to me. The Hispanic or Latino students, we had 10. You know, it's broken down by grade. And white students, 79 students, 39, 12, 37, 11th, and 11 in the 10th grade. Only one Hispanic student in the 10th grade, but that's a smaller number also. We only have 13 students. That would be the U.S. history? I think it's U.S. history that the sophomores take. I take that back. It's probably the AP Bio. Yeah. Multilingual students were 10 of those students with disabilities was 8, and then the breakdown of male and female was 45 and 62. So over a 5-year period, if you take a look, the total number of AP students actually went down last year in comparison, and the number of exams taken has also gone down. AP students with a 3 or more, again, pretty steady until you get to 2021, 2022, and that number went down. Current number of students who are taking the AP courses, we have 169 student sections, and I say student sections because it's not 169 students. I would say it's probably closer to 100 and I believe it's about 112. I apologize, I didn't go back and check that. But we do have, what you can see is that we do have one taking computer science through VHS, one music theory through VHS, and one psychology through VHS. And the question might be, so why don't we offer those AP courses as, you know, teaching sections during the school day? If we don't have enough, and I generally like to look at in AP courses, if it's a number under 10, we look at it, okay, so that's all right if it's under 10, if it's an AP. But if it gets down to where it's only 4 or 5 students, then you have to ask yourself, do we take that much time and take a teaching section away? And this year, our student population is at 590, and we have classes that are literally bursting at the seams. So sometimes you just have to make the decision that it's not a course that you can offer and take a teaching section from that. I would like to recognize that Ms. Wiggin and Ms. Christie and Mr. Lucas Hayes are new AP teachers this year for the high school. They did summer training and have taken on some of the AP instruction with the retirement of some of our teachers. And that's our report, unless you have questions.
Questions, thank you.
Ms. Brown?
No question, thank you.
Laura?
No questions, thank you.
I have one question, and I don't expect you to be able to answer it tonight.
I might be ready for you.
You might be ready. I love the demographics and
Yes.
the breakdown. I would just be curious how these numbers compare to past years.
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I believe, so just because of last year's numbers, because, you know, basically update last year's data, they're pretty close to comparison. I believe, I'm going to just back up a second, on the Hispanic and Latino number, I'm pretty sure went up, and our Black or African and 2 or more races, so that's 16 total. That's definitely up from last year anyway. But that is a good question. It's interesting when you go to look at it on the AP College Board, they only break down certain certain demographic. They don't break down all of it. Like, they don't even break down the disabilities. They look at students of low income, and probably should add that in here. But so it's interesting the way that they break it down, and they don't do quite as much as we do in our system, but we could do a little bit more digging and get a little more of
Yeah,
that.
Just curious.
Yeah,
Something
it'd
to-
be interesting to look at maybe the last 5 years, what that looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
So Mandy, do you have any predictions for this coming year?
I will say that I know that we have our senior class they're pretty ready for this senior year. And quite a few of them have taken on the AP courses. I think we even have a few students who have never taken some AP courses. So it's interesting that they're taking this on for this year. I actually, don't tell anybody this, I actually talked to one student, I'm like, why are you taking an AP class? She goes, because I have to get into college. So I think that our seniors are really taking it seriously this year. I think that because of what they've gone through in the last 2.3 school years, that they realize that they're coming into this year and that it's really closer to being more of a traditional normal year than it has been. And I know Miss Sarah Dallas and I have talked about it a couple of times, that this class just seems so appreciative that they're here. I think they're more serious about it. I think we'll see some different results this year. I think our junior class is pretty top-notch this year. So I would be surprised if we don't see some of our numbers go up a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The homeschooling
Legs out for
report.
you.
So I need to look up other information. This is very brief. Okay, yeah. So this you have this in front of you, but this shows you our numbers of homeschooled children by grade. It went down a little bit this year from last year, and a lot of those numbers actually represent two families in the district. And some, just to say that we are still in process with some of this year's homeschooling families. They have to submit a plan that has to be approved and that sort of thing, so some of them are still working on that. And then this is by year. You can see we have 9 homeschooled children this year. So we saw a lot, obviously, in 2021, which was a tough year for being in school. So that's where we are. Any questions?
Okay.
No questions.
Esmeralda?
No questions.
Laura?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Pauline?
Nope. Thank you.
What do we do to reach out to see if there are people we're missing?
So I work with Sarah Kirk, the registrar, and she lets me know if parents mention that they were thinking of homeschooling. They have to withdraw their student or they have to apply for it, and then she puts them in touch with me, and I show them what the school committee policy requires and what the state requires, and they have to submit that. And we have to make sure that whatever homeschooling program they're choosing, or that the plan that they've developed themselves, that it actually fulfills the standards that are in the Massachusetts standards, that are required for an education. Most of them work with online schools that have a curriculum that, they know is already, it's hard for a parent, especially if they're not trained as an educator, and especially in the upper levels, to be an expert in everything. So they use resources that will provide them that guidance, and often will have some online classes with teachers and other students. So we base that on what our registrar has that information, and she is notified about which students move into the district. So I rely on her.
I do have one more question.
Sure.
I'm just curious, are homeschooled children allowed to participate in specials?
Not specials, but extracurricular activities.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Jim.
Committee discussions and votes to be taken. A vote to approve the school handbooks, NHS, CPS, NIS, and NES. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The September 20th, 2022 meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the donation of school supplies from St. Paul's Church to NES estimated at $800.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve the superintendent goals as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Transfers and invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Subcommittee work group reports. Laura, you sort of had a meeting when we had Paul here.
Yes. So I will have more to report at our next meeting next month. And then we have a school lunch meeting tomorrow, scheduled for tomorrow. So we can report on that for our next meeting.
Is that going to be at noon or?
It's going to be at 11.
Okay. Anything from you, Ron?
No, we have a policy meeting, right?
Oh, yes,
On Thursday.
on Thursday.
And then we also follow, but right behind that, we have the meeting with the teachers.
Yes, we have it's a full week of
Yeah.
subcommittees this coming week.
Okay. Natalie isn't here tonight. The agenda for the next meeting, October 18th, the future school calendar, first quarter budget updates, math needs assessment, and school committee goals. Anybody have anything else?
Sir.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. Yes, it's a busy week this week. We have a lot going on. We have a lot going on.
Did you make the meeting in person for the food program the other day?
I didn't.
No, I didn't.
No, I wasn't able to pull that off. Initially, I was, and then that slot got scooped up.
Yeah. I'm glad it's easier when I Zoom.
Well, it is.
It's not as nice because it's, it's a little bit more. But I do like it. Hello?
I'll let Dean know